in
Hi.
everyone.
Is anyone here yet?
Yeah, welcome. We're going to do something a bit random we've never done before, just because everyone's stuck at home, and or a lot of us are, and we've all been split up this last week. So I'm Steve, who some of you might know and some of you won't know. I'm the boss man, so I don't really do very much apart from talk about things and tell them what to do and get excited about what they do. So yeah, we've got AJ, who's there. AJ spends all his time with head of design Gary, and he's responsible for getting all the kits ready for production and making sure they all go together. So
I get a fun job.
Yeah, if AJ points upwards now, that's Rich. Yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, Rich joined us in the new year, and Rich's main responsibilities are social media and content and lots of cool videos and things we're going to start doing.
New stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking about lots of stuff that's coming out now or soon. Yeah.
Good.
We've got a bit of an agenda, Steve. So what we're going to start with?
First thing is probably the most exciting thing is to talk about the book.
Yes,
I've got one here. This is a preview copy that came from the printers before the main print run. So you can see there's some blank pages, but yeah. But this is 148 pages of brand new painting guides and assembly guides and technical guides. So there's everything through from bits about the design process, about the materials, about glues, paints, sprays, tips on assembly, and then it goes through from a sort of basic painting guide right through to some full-on pimped kits at the end with lots of techniques using transfers, papers, really easy stuff. Most of the paints and things in it are household emulsions, things you can get from art stores. So it's not difficult to find products. It's just how we do our kits, and the focus of the book is really to sort of show how we do it and give people the confidence to try it themselves and see how easy it is just to play about with MDF and make it look really cool for your table.
Fantastic. How many pages does it come in at?
It's 148. It's split into 16 sections, plus there's some intros and information bits. There's a resource bit at the back which has got find it resource bit at the back which has got lots of texture things, so you can photocopy stuff, scan things and use them on your kits. It's got sections on even repairing kits if you break something while you're gaming or building it. You know, the bicarbonate of soda trick to strengthen MDF components if you break them. So yeah, lots in it.
How long has Gary spent on this?
He's been doing it it's been an idea for about 12 months. He's been hard working on it for about 6 months. This is one of the reasons why we did the Kickstarter, because we had a couple of really big projects. Trying to fit them both in around everything else we were doing wasn't quite so easy. So yeah, so it's great to see it in physical form after being an idea for so long, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. The book itself is at the printers right now. They have printed it, and I believe it's getting bound over the weekend, early next week. So we should have them all in hand next week. Yeah, and then we can show them off some more there then.
Now, obviously there's the big situation at the moment. Why we're all separated at this stage? Are we going to be able to ship it out?
At the moment, Royal Mail are running a normal collection service for us, and there are no restrictions on where we can send things. What I do know is that some countries are running their mail services, but they have reduced staffing and there's some restrictions in movement. But that should just mean delays. So what's happening into Europe is instead of air mails going via road, which just adds a couple of days onto it, and then you might be, depending on where you are, some local delays. But we're still sending orders out to Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and they're being received. As I say, it's just some of them are taking a little bit longer than they normally would, which can happen day to day anyway. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's good. It's probably what a lot of people have been waiting for, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mentioned in there as well that we're the Kickstarter, and Gary spent quite a bit of time working on the book.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter. You want to tell us a little bit more about that briefly?
Yeah, well, it obviously finished a few weeks ago. It went really well. We did it because we just didn't have a space in our schedule to put a large kit like that, which is effectively 24 individual kits. So we decided, after sort of much deliberation, we would put it to Kickstarter, and then that would allow us to plan it into this schedule outside normal production. The events around the world will obviously affect that a little bit, but our initial fulfillment on the Kickstarter was June. We had planned and hoped, once it sort of got going, that we would do that early May. So even if we have a sort of delay of a month, 6 weeks, I still don't think at the moment that we really will run past when we said anyway. I'm not panicking, and I'm still confident that we'll not actually be late. So, yeah, that's where that is. Someone asked that question on the Kickstarter earlier, so I've put the same thing on there. There's a comment on saying exactly the same thing. I don't have any need, feel any need to panic about it. I think we'll still do it, and if we can do it early, it will be done early. The only thing we might change is that originally we were going to just send everything out at the same time. What we might do, if it's going to drag on, is send it out in batches as we do it, rather than have everyone wait. We can still get some out early, and we'll do that.
We'll keep everybody updated, I guess, individually.
We'll send out regular updates. The kits themselves, AJ will tell you where they are. Well, you can give them an update on how the kits are for production.
Yeah, okay. Where are we up with production now?
Production-wise, they're all tagged, obviously, because we have to keep them inside the sheets. They've numbered up. They're all tested, ready to go. So as soon as we start cutting them, they're at that point where we can start cutting them now. So
okay,
we're scheduled with that. But like you say, it all depends with postal service, doesn't it? With getting them out on time. But I don't see why I would miss it. But
how's this situation affecting the cutting times for the kits themselves alongside orders?
You mean day-to-day orders?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we've seriously downmanned. Everyone's been sent home, apart from 3 people who all live in the same house. So there's no, we've sort of taken everyone's safety into consideration. So 3 people that live in the same house are going to the same place to work. So that's meant that we go in and it's just production stroke dispatches. So sometimes you might get some delays with getting an answer to an email. The phone might not get answered, but we're just cutting stuff and carrying on. So we're up to date. I think there's pretty much everything of this week is done. The only thing that haven't been sent out is some orders that have obviously got books attached to them. So they're all, the kits are all ready for those. They're all sitting in a big pile. So as soon as they come in, they'll just start going out. So that should start next week. Everything's going to plan.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, so we've got some other kits coming up this weekend, seeing as everything seems to be working quite nicely.
Yes.
The Mediterranean.
Yes.
AJ, can you tell us
Yeah.
a bit more about the Mediterranean? What have we got in terms of?
There is 16 individual products for this, which all range from a little animal shed to village houses, then to walls. Also, we're putting 3 bundles together, so you'll have a smaller one that incorporates some of it, a medium-sized one, which will be a smaller one, and another one added to it, and then a big boy bundle that's got pretty much everything included inside of that one, and that will all be available this weekend.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So the big bundle, we've got a little picture in the corner there of the farmhouse.
Yeah, it's a little 2-story one we've got there. Yeah.
You say 2x1. What sort of size does that come in at?
That is the width depth of it is 200 by 100, and the height is roughly 150, I'd say. But then, as you can see, because they're based all on our terrain tile system, they can be configured in different configurations you can get out of it. So you can buy the bundle and then make it to whatever you'd like with it, and then buy add-ons, which then you can create even bigger ones from it if you buy them separately.
Oh, crikey! Yeah, perfect. Hopefully we'll get a nice little picture of the village coming up shortly. But the kits themselves look like they were put together and not painted. Would that be correct, Steve?
Yes, there is a full paint guide, not a paint guide for these. We actually, with these ones, what was done, we used some printed paper brick patterns. So the whole lot, even the roof, the pan tiles, they're just clad in paper and trimmed around the shapes, the edges, and then just touched up the edges with a colour, which we'll tell you what colour it was to match them. But that just made for quite a fast and really cool look to the whole lot. You could obviously use textured spray paints, or you could use polyfiller, things like that if you really wanted to. But these look really good, and it's just printed paper. There's nothing fancy about it.
We got a desert painting guide for the desert forts.
Yep.
Have we got one for the? Is this going to be a PDF one for?
Yes, there is. There'll be a downloadable PDF ready. So as soon as people start getting their kits, they can download that for free and have a go doing it that way, or they can do it whichever way they want. So
it's like quite an exciting range there. I might have to start looking around for some Mediterranean British troops for World War II.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's got a sort of generic feel to it, but anything made. I mean, you could see some hoplites fighting around it, some Romans, but you could also see, Fallschirmjäger coming crashing through the farm in Crete, or American troops coming into Italy, southern Italy. That's the point in a lot of what we do. We try and make it as useful to people as possible.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to getting our hands on that as we get cutting. So I can have a try.
Yeah, we hoped we would have had it all here. I could have shown it, but the current situation, it's all sitting in boxes, and we can't show it off at the moment. So we will as soon as we can.
Cool. Have you got anything on hand to show us then?
I have nothing really exciting. I have a large tower from the Desert Fort. This is an unpainted one. This is just what I've got sitting around at the house. Yeah, it's probably a bit big. And one of the wall sections.
Yeah.
One of the wall sections here. Sorry about the lighting here. This uses the same interlock as our terrain tiles, so that it locks up walls and things. You can add extra wall sections in, so you could create the bigger fort. You could add towers from the basic one, or you could just buy the bits you want and configure it however you want it. So you could just buy some walls and just have it as a table edge piece.
That looks like it'll fit in with the Alamo a bit.
Yeah, it's done in the same way, so you can expand it and rearrange it to suit your gaming needs, and also it makes storage great. The around the tiles that we've used, the biggest footprint of anything was 200 by 200 millimeters. So you get a couple of really useful boxes, and things will sit in them quite nicely. And so they don't take up a lot of space, a couple of boxes, and you can get them all sitting in there nice and flat, and then just get them out and set them on the table. And as with a lot of the terrain tiles, the point of them, you can build a sort of layout, but also you can just make dioramas and small scenic pieces and use them independently in your games, or you can use them as part of a bigger layout.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, AJ.
Yeah, I was just going to add to it as well. The wall sections with Desert Fort, Alamo, and with the Med will all line up with each other, so you can add these things to Alamo's Kickstarter or Desert Fort. It's all got the same join with them, so
yeah.
So
Okay.
they all work with each
the
other.
styles might be slightly different, but you could create some layouts using bits and pieces from them all. If there was a certain feature you liked, they would work. You could set them in together.
Fantastic. Now we've got some other stuff coming up. The Meds this weekend, isn't it?
Yep.
What we got lined up for next weekend?
Stalingrad we're looking at. So we'll have Factory, which Warlord also have their own one, but we've got our own version that we're releasing to next weekend. We'll also have the front section to it, the office entrance. So we'll have a few kits for that, but maybe a few bundles as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a couple of big bundles, so you can have a big table full of Factory, and again, it's sort of interlocking, joining, so you can scatter them off and use them as small, broken Factory sections, or push it all together and make one big Factory. So yeah, that's really nice.
If that's the way, you could actually have two factories and fill up. How big a board do you think you could fill with two factories?
Well, if you push it together, it's 400 by 300. It's about 400 by 300 millimeters. So it's sort of a foot and a bit by a foot. So if you stick a couple of them together, you start to fill up. You could really get a really dense 3x3, 4x4 with a couple of them. That would work quite well. And depending on how you dress it up, it would be quite useful for sci-fi or anything. It doesn't need to be Stalingrad.
We've got the ruined city that breaks apart as well, haven't we? So
yes, yeah.
Nice.
So you could incorporate it with a few things, and you've got some shattered cityscape, stroke industrial area, with a lot of flexibility in how you use it. And very, very simple to store because they're all small pieces.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we've rattled through a whole heap of stuff tonight. So I think hopefully anybody watching's got quite a bit of info already under the belt. But we've got a few questions that have come in. So I'm going to fire those over to either you or Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're ready. Right. So maybe, both of you take it in turns. How do you choose what kits to make?
Ooh, go on, AJ.
How do we choose? Well, it can be something we're excited about. It could be games coming up that we like. It could just be something we just think is really cool sometimes. It can come out of nowhere. Or Gary has an idea, doesn't he, our head designer? So there's quite a few ways to come up, isn't there, Steve, I'd say?
Yeah.
It's not one particular way we focus on what we're going to do next, is there?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some of the kits, the random ones, are done purely to try something different, a little design technique. We just want to try an assembly technique or a material, and rather than doing something big, we do a little kit. A perfect example would be the little traction engine, the tractor, the steam traction engine. That was done to play about because we wanted to do a steam locomotive. So we did a little kit, tried it, and then worked out what was good and bad about that in refining that, and then made a big kit out of that. And there's quite a few things where that's the process. The other thing is just something that you think, I want to make that. That's really cool. Yeah. And then the third reason would just be people ask. The Alamo came from people asking. We got, for what is quite a niche kit, we got a lot of requests for it. It was quite a requested kit, and we quite liked the idea of doing it. So yeah.
Fantastic. All right, next one. How do you paint the houses shown in the glass cabinet? I'm guessing they're referring to one of the social media pics we had of the.
Oh yeah, I think that was the picture I stuck up when we said we were going to do the video. It's some World War Europe range destroyed houses. There's some photos of them on the website. Those were done with household emulsions, those ones, and then weathered. They're actually quite roughly, quickly done, but they just look really good. And there's just enough detailing, some highlighting on them. There's actually in the book one of those, the simple version features in there as well. And I think there's another guide, a separate guide that features another one. So yeah. So they weren't really anything mega complicated. It was just a base coat, some dry brushing, and then some washes on top.
I think we only have to say go and read the book when it comes.
Yeah. There's plenty of paint guides as well, isn't there? Website, PDFs, whatever. So
yeah.
One of the next ones might be a challenge to answer, AJ. How easy is it to change scales in the software, or is it a completely new design?
Well, the way Gary does it, he will scale it down, but it's also you have to go in, all your joins, your tabs, whatever else. It's not as simple as just shrinking it all or making it bigger. The fact that obviously the tabs, the joins, everything go with it. So you have to scale it up or down, whichever way you want to go, and then go in and change all the tabs, everything else with it. So it's a bit more than just putting a shrink ray on it or something and making it bigger.
Yeah, I mean, the kits are designed in 3D and then they get flattened out into 2D for cutting. But to take a kit and shrink it, it's really easy. You can do that in 3D, and the kit looks like a smaller stroke bigger version. The difference is, though, is the materials we use don't change. So if you've got a kit that's using 2mm thick materials, all the tabs are sized at 2mm. If you make that bigger stroke smaller, then the slots all change size. So all your joins will become too tight.
To be loose or tight, can't they? Depending.
Yeah. So there is ways around it. If you take a kit that's been done in 2mm and then you change the size by 150%, then cut it in 3mm, it will work. But that scale doesn't really work for things. So you can change the scale of a kit by changing the material thickness and do it that way. But that doesn't actually work for what you need to do, because the scale changes are like strange to go from 28 to 20. It's like sort of
a bit of wizardry, and I think obviously one that's a topic for another video, perhaps.
Yes.
Let's run along because we're running a little bit short of time now. We've got a couple of great questions coming in. So just quickly, AJ, what's your favourite kit out of the entire range that you've done?
Pagoda, just for the fact that it was one of the first bits with a card where the end of the roof flicks up, and I really like the aesthetic of it all.
Fantastic, Steve.
I like the armored train, the German armored train. And that's another card skin one that wraps around, but I just think it looks brilliant. I love it. Absolutely love that kit. Yeah. Every time I look at pictures of it, I think that's brilliant.
I think for me it's the Pacific range, the village itself. It's got just such a lovely feel, and I'm not biased at all with my US Marines, honest. Okay. Topical question, perhaps with the book. How to answer that, some of these questions for everybody, but do I need to seal my MDF kits before painting?
No. I would say no. No. We don't seal anything. We just base coat them. And that's whether it's a brushed on base coat or a spray base coat. You could say that in some ways the base coat is sealing it, but we just then work straight on top of it. So a lot of the time the base coat color is what we're going to use for the base color. So no, it's a big. We should do another video about it. Basically it's impossible for inks made out of sprays made out of pigment and carrier. It's impossible for pigment to soak into a solid substrate. Yeah, that's how print works. You print on paper and the pigment stays on top and everything else evaporates, stroke dries away. And it's the same with MDF. If you get the impression that something's soaking in, it's because there's not enough pigment. And it doesn't mean that it's cheap. It just means that in whatever strength it's in, that you don't have enough pigment to cover the MDF. Generally, people end up using airbrushes or watering it down. So just use it neat, whatever you use. If you use emulsion, if you use acrylic paints, artist acrylics, whatever, just use it neat and spread it around. And your spray cans as well. Some good ones are, you get graffiti paints are great because they're high pigment strength. So Rich might even show you some.
He's probably got some in his man cave, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's the one.
There you go. Gold. Really great brand. There's 220 colours in the base range, so you'll get any colour you want. You could use that outside in the frost and rain, and it will still stick to things. I wouldn't recommend it, but
yeah, I love these because the caps come off quite easily.
Yeah,
and you can replace the caps with different size. I'm going the wrong way. Different size nozzles, so you can get really different effects. And yes, HF Wargaming, I am in my shed.
yeah. So I would say as well, you know, when we say
releasing the 1-to-1 scale garden shed.
Yeah. So what I would say is when you get a kit, there's a lot of spare sprues on it, or the inside. If you don't know how the paint you're using is going to react, just stick it on the spare bit and try it, because it will go on the same everywhere. Stick it inside the roof, try the inside of the roof. But as I say, we don't prime anything, and we aren't particularly fussy about what we use. We just use stuff, you know, the cheapest tester pots you can find in Wilco's or B&Q or any hardware store are a great place to start. And just use them neat, and only water them down once you start to get, you know, once you want to get some weathering effects, then slap loads of water on it so it runs and smears around.
Yeah. Right, I think it's time to wrap up, guys. We've had some great questions. Hi to everybody that's been able to drop on and follow us on this first live broadcast.
Yeah,
Sarissa Live TV. Wow. Anything you want to say, Steve, just to finish off?
No, I hope it was worth 25 minutes or whatever of everyone's time, and we'll definitely do it again.
Fantastic. We'll set a date and let people know in the events on our Facebook page, I guess.
Yeah.
And cool. AJ, anything from you?
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, everyone stay safe and be careful out there. Yeah, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Indeed. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for watching. And yes, I am in my garden shed, but we're safe, we're healthy, we're keeping ourselves distant, and we're keeping things going at Sarissa HQ for you guys. So look after yourselves.
Stay safe, guys.
Be safe.